Hello, everybody. I've been greatly impressed to share this word of encouragement to you today. It's about how to release healing into your body. And I've been preaching since I was 21 years old on a weekly basis and also on a daily basis many times, sometimes 2 or 3 times a day, depends on what classes I'm teaching. And I've noticed something. A lot of people, they will listen to the exact same message that the ones you've been listening to, and they still miss it. And they keep the sickness instead of get healed. And so what I found out is that they don't have to do that. And so what do you do? Well, what I did was I started listening to them talk. There's a friend of mine, and he don't mind me sharing this. He repented public for it, so he would be greatly encouraged to know that we're doing a program today about that. But what it is he got a prophetic word that if he would listen to healing scriptures and take them in as his own, that he'd be healed. And so what happened is I just got kind of like a check in my spirit, or some people, feel like, say, well, I felt uneasy about that, or I felt like I should ask him a question about it. And so what I did was the next time I saw him about a week later, and he had his tape recorder. I know the word was CDs, but he was an older gentleman, so he didn't know how to work CDs, but he knew how to work tapes, so he got a tape player. And what he did was he would listen to those tapes, and they were healing scriptures, and they were scriptures in the Old Testament, New Testament alike, and it was healing. It was scriptures also about faith. And so if I was going to title this, I would say how to release faith, or how to release healing in your body. And I'm convinced that there's, I don't know how many people I've talked to or how many people we reach, but there is a bunch of them, okay? And so, but I found out something. It's a real key issue here. If you can get this, you can be healed too. And what the problem was he told me again. He said, well, Pastor Mike, he said, I got a word from the Lord through another person that I was supposed to, listen to these healing verses, listening to these healing verses, and listening to these healing verses, and I've been doing that. And I said, well, that's good. I said, tell me again what you're doing. And so he got just a little bit frustrated with me because I was making him repeat again what he apparently said, but seemingly I missed it somewhere, okay? But actually he's the one that missed it. And so I just said, well, tell me again what you're doing. He said, well, I'm taking these healing verses in hopes of being healed. That's where he missed it at right there. Because faith is always spoken present tense. And he said, in hopes of being healed. And I bet you right now, there's a lot of people listening to me that is doing the same thing he's doing. They're taking healing scriptures in hopes of being healed. Now let me make that real clear to you. First of all, scriptures in the Bible are written present tense. When it has to do with salvation, when it has to do with healing, prosperity, a lot of other subjects in the Bibles too are written present tense. So what does that mean? That means you have to use faith and speak present tense. There's only one kind of faith in the Bible, and that's present tense faith. There's no such thing as future, because faith is never spoken in the future. And he said, I'm doing this in hopes of being healed. Remember? So what is he doing? He's actually not going to get faith to work for him, because what he's doing is not even faith at all, because it's spoken present tense. Well, faith is always spoken present tense. You got it? Not future tense or not used to be. See, you can be saying, you know, I know God's going to heal me because he healed me before. Well, that's not faith though. You can be encouraged that you got healed before. But if you're using your I was healed or I used to be healed or he healed me before, thinking that's faith, that's not faith at all. Am I right or wrong? It's not faith at all because faith's always spoken present tense. Okay? So he was using the scriptures and using them for future tense. Like I know God's going to heal me because I'm doing all these things with these scriptures and I in hopes of being healed. I told him, I said, that's why you're not healed. He looked at me. He had one eye up, one eye down, kind of cross-eyed looking. I'm not making fun of him. He was just kind of looking goofy at me on purpose. He's kind of like, what you talking about, Willis? You know, like that. And so I said, faith's always spoken present tense. He said, I know. I'm saying it in hopes of being healed. I said, no, you're deceived. He looked at me again like, what you talking about, Willis? And he said, you know what? You're right. That's where I'm missing it at. Because I can't use the word faith and the word waiting in hopes of it being to work. I can't do that. But I am doing that. That's why it's not working in my life. And I said, you're absolutely right. He said, well, you're right, Pastor. I said, well, I'm not right, but the Bible's right. It's always spoken present tense. Hebrews 11:6 says, without faith, it's impossible to please God. Now, he's talking about present tense faith, Bible faith, okay? Not what people say is faith. A lot of the stuff people saying is faith is I've been listening to them since I was 21 years old, and I'm over 21 now, okay? And so I've been listening to them for several years, 30 some odd years, and I found out every single time they can receive it present tense. Not go by your five senses, but go by what the Bible actually says. So what he did was he just took Isaiah, the same healing verses that he's already been looking at, memorizing and everything else. He knew more healing verses than I did. He'd been listening to them for, quite a while because he had a terminal disease and he was going to kill him if he didn't get a grip on this. And so he starts saying, no, I'm not saying these in hopes of being healed. I'm saying them because I already am healed. Because the Bible says I am healed. So if I am healed, then I am healed. It says in Isaiah 53:5, by his stripes I'm healed. It says in 1 Peter 2:24, by his stripes I were healed. If I were healed, then I am healed. Then it says in Matthew 8:17, he says, himself took my infirmities, bore my sicknesses, and by his stripes I'm healed. He was so excited. He said, no, I am healed. I'm not doing this in hopes of being healed. Jesus healed me over 2,000 years ago. I am the healed. 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 That's what he would say. See, he was putting it present tense because that's the only way it's going to work, brother and sister. I know I've made some people mad, but I've made some people glad. It should make you glad. When I heard about faith, it made me happy. And if faith is not making you happy, you're deceived. Because there's no way you can relate to God without it. Because Hebrews 11:6, it's impossible to please God without faith. And that faith he's talking about is present tense faith. Because that's the only Bible faith there is, just one kind. Aren't you glad you don't have to have 27 different kinds, just one? I'm glad. So y'all have a good one and be blessed. And remember, be very sensitive that you're not doing stuff in hopes of something good would happen. No, you're making it present tense because it's already happened. Jesus has already paid the price and you're speaking it present tense. And you can do that. You speak present tense when you're in your heart and your mind and everything else. And what happens is you start seeing it in your life. And even if you never see it, you can still walk in divine health because you don't go by your five senses. Because faith doesn't go by what it sees. But I guarantee you, you'll have some good results. Some good results. Some good results. So I just want to say I love you. And y'all have a good one. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.